where protests turned chaotic. In Kitengela, protesters engaged anti-riot police in running battles, prompting GSU officers to repel them amid scenes of looting. One person sustained a gunshot wound and was rushed to Kitengela Sub-County Hospital in critical condition. In Nakuru, eyewitnesses recount scenes of violence, including the shooting of 3 individuals, among them journalist Wanjeri wa Kariuki of Media Max Limited.
Nilikuwa family bank kulipia mtoto school fees, anasoma Maria Veronica. Sasa kwenda kulipa school fees, mimi natoka nikizani imeisha. Kupass ndio hiyo wananituangia tu hapa. Wameshusha tu yatia kazi tu ovyo ovyo. Hata sikujua imetokea wapi.
The Kenya Editors Guild and Kenya Union of Journalists have since condemned the shooting of a journalist, calling on IPOA to investigate the officer involved in a shooting within 7 days. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
And in the coastal city of Mombasa, another person, one more, is nursing gunshot wounds after he was shot during the Tuesday's protests. Protesters in the port city engaged police in a cat-and-mouse game for the better part of the afternoon. During the protests, youth called for the scrapping of Prime Cabinet Secretary's office, arguing that it was unconstitutional. They also demanded an end to the abductions witnessed in recent weeks. Our Coast Region reporter Ann Mburu with the details.
These were the scenes from Uhuru Gardens in Mombasa City. The protesters snaked through the central business district, making their way through Bondeni back to Mwembe Tayari along Kenyatta Avenue, where they made stops to sing the national anthem. Security was beefed up, with police closely monitoring the protesters to ensure no acts of crime were committed. Things would go downhill as the protesters marched from Sabasaba to Majengo area, following an order for the protests to end owing to the infiltration of goons. The chaotic scenes forcing police to lob tear gas canisters to disperse the protesters as they pelted stones and lit bonfires on the road. They demanded the Prime Cabinet Secretary office be scrapped.
The same people who wake up very early in the morning to vote for him are now in the streets telling him that he needs to stand up and sack Musalia Mudavadi, who is holding unconstitutional office in this parliament. He's using our fares, he's using our tax money without being controlled by the government.
Additionally, they added their voice on the cases of abduction and torture witnessed in recent weeks.
And this revolution is not being led by the opposition leaders or anyone who is a politician.
In the midst of the cat-and-mouse chase between the youth and the police, one student was shot and left nursing a gunshot wound.
Hatujasikia property ya mtu yoyote imevunjwa, lakini tumegadhabishwa, tumesikitika kwa vile polisi leo wametumia nguvu nyingi sana na wameumiza vijana, na kijana mmoja amepigwa risasi, na tumeokota pia zile cartridges za life bullets tuko nazo. Hii yote tapeleka kwa IPOA.
So we are asking the new acting inspector general, na kuona pia umeanza on a wrong footing. Wale polisi hawangefanya hivyo kama order ingetoka mahali. Kwa hivyo acting inspector general, you are also on notice.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
And in Kisumu, the county experienced a day of extremes as protesters took to the streets. Early morning was relatively peaceful, but as the day progressed, it turned into chaotic scenes as security officers engaged demonstrators in running battles. Several protesters were arrested while some suffered injuries. Achola Simon reports.
It was a mixed bag as demonstrators in the Kisumu County took to the streets. The demonstration started on a peaceful note, albeit with a handful of demonstrators who showed up for the demonstration. The small group of protesters snaked through the Kisumu CBD, chanting songs heading towards the State Lodge along the Kenyatta Avenue, Dunga Beach Road. After minutes of voicing their displeasure, the small group retreated to their start point in Kondele. But as the day progressed, the group was joined by another group of protesters who again made a loop back to the State Lodge. This time round, police blocked them from heading towards the State Lodge, lobbing tear gas canisters to disperse the swelling crowds. It was at this point that the situation deteriorated, with acts of hooliganism being witnessed as they engaged police in running battles. Several people were arrested while some suffered serious injuries as the standoff persisted. Charles Simon, Prime Edition, Kisumu County.
Hundreds of protesters barricaded major roads in parts of the country as protesters took to the streets to demand for justice and accountability. There was heavy police deployment in Kisii, Migori, Kajiado, Machakos, Makueni, Kakamega, Baringo, Nyeri, and Nakuru counties as protesters took to the streets.
The sound of tear gas. It was every man for himself as police and protesters engaged in parts of the country as protests resumed after a week of calm. Tension was high in Kitengela town, Kajiado County, as anti-government protesters lit bonfires and barricaded Namanga Road. Things will turn chaotic as businesses were looted, leaving the owners counting losses as police attempted to push them back.
We want the accountability of this government. They are afraid to give us accountability. Yet when we go out on the streets, they are sending police officers to come and disturb us.
In Nyahururu town, demonstrators engaged police in running battles for the better part of the day, with calls for accountability for the deaths witnessed in previous demos. The situation was not different in Baringo County as protesters stormed the county headquarters in Kabarnet, demanding for the immediate resignation of the county governor Benjamin Cheboy over alleged nepotism in tender awards, corrupt public service board, mismanagement of public funds, among other allegations. It was a similar script in Kakamega County as the youth flocked to the streets. They lashed out at the county governor, citing poor service delivery and governance.
We need transparency and accountability kwa hii county yetu. That's all we need. Hatujakuja kuvuruga.
Gen Z wenye wako hapa Kakamega wanadai haki yao. Haki ya kuandikwa kazi, haki ya proper administration na baraza, haki ya kuwa na madawa kwa hospitali.
And this was the situation in Embu County. The protesters accused local authorities of mobilizing goons to infiltrate their peaceful protests. And in Kisii, similar scenes were witnessed as protesters lit bonfires demanding accountability.
Tumechoka na hii nchi. Askari wenyewe nimewanunulia lunch, nimebaki na 50. Hawana kitu ya kukula.
It was the same script in Migori and Homa Bay counties as protesters barricaded roads and lit bonfires.
Wenye biashara wote, mtu kama mimi niko na rent ya 1500 kwa mwezi, kila mwezi 1500. Sasa kisi kama leo mwezi kifika atapata pesa kulipa rent kweli? Takosa pesa.
In Machakos, a group of youth attempted to storm Machakos police station, demanding the release of their colleague who was arrested during the demonstrations. They were, however, repulsed as police lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse them.
It is time to fight for our rights. Wazee wa zamani walipigania uhuru wa Kenya na vijana tulisaidika. Hatuogopi.
Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
Now, what was the situation like in Nairobi's Central Business District? Businesses remained closed in many parts as protesters played cat and mouse games with security officers. Several businesses that feared losing their property to looters either barricaded their businesses or just remained shut, with only a few cautiously opening for patrons. Alona Oko with that update.
Happened on June the 25th. The shop was vandalized, the windows broken, the merchandise that was inside taken. This is what businesses today are trying to avoid. They are trying to avoid looting, and that's why you are seeing many businesses are shut at this particular moment.
There's no better indication of business activity in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, than the usual foot traffic or the many mobile money transfer vendors or even the shoe shining businesses. But today, most businesses remained shut, with business owners opting to watch protests from afar. It it was difficult to find a whole street of open businesses. But why?
Kama saa hizi hakuna biashara yote inaendelea na uchumi inaendelea kukua chini, na ningeomba tena agencies, kuna vijana pia wanachukua watu wengine sio kawaida, kuna wale vijana wanakuja kufunja na kupora, na sio agencies.
These border operators who plied their trade around Nairobi CBD decrying a reduced level of business despite the uneasy calm that prevailed Tuesday morning.
Bana nimerago huko Mangware njoo hakuna mboka kutoka asubuhi hatujabeba watu wanavurugana tu majenzi.
But come late morning, protesters emerged, causing even the few businesses that were open to close shop. So disruptive were the proceedings that not even public service vehicles were spared, with matatus eventually failing to depart or terminate at their designated termini.
Mimi kwa kawaida napiganga nikienda Kangware napiganga tripu 4 na Utawala napiganga tripu 3. Sasa saa hii nimeenda Utawala moja na Kangware nimeenda moja. Kumaanisha sasa hata mimi nitaingia kwa mfuko kuwekea gari ya mwenyewe mafuta kwa sababu mwenyewe hii gari amenipea ni target.
Sentiments echoed by many traders who are now hoping that normalcy will be restored in coming days for economic activities to resume.
Consumers say that they're looking for a time when their usual shopping will not be interrupted. And on the business side, they tell us that they're looking at a time when they'll be able to confidently open their shops without fear of distraction. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Collins Khalusa's lawyer alleges that his client, the suspect on the Kware murders, was tortured. Details coming up when we come back from the short break. Stay with us.
Unajua, token mita yako inahitaji system update. Ni rahisi na ni free. Ukipata ujumbe kutoka Kenya Power, yani SMS, weka kodi ya kwanza kureset, alafu weke kodi ya pili kuupdate ili token mita yako iendelee kufanya kazi kama kawaida. Update token mita yako. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
Kwa star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this brand new Mazda Demio.
Enjoy a beautiful, clean, semi-leather interior, low mileage, touchscreen and a reverse cam, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business.
Ukitaka kujishindia gari hili, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option number 4, kisha unajiunga na draw. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Gari ya pili ni yako. Ni yako.
Hii Julai, jishindie Demio na Loto Moto. Tucheze, tusaidie na tushinde. I'm just wondering, are you this happy because of a single day, Hivi?
Yes, for shallow thinkers like yourself. But it is much deeper if you view it in my perspective. There is so much to be grateful for.
Especially having survived such an year. Fuchs, God is great.
Halafu bwana kale kaukali ni kachoko I don't think it's enough for all of us.
All of us or you, only you?
Even me. Halafu bwana kasani. Bwana, was it meant for just one person?
What a
And this, I have never seen this toothpick with a sponge.
Those are earbuds. They are used to clean your ears, not toothpick with sponge. What is toothpick with sponge?
You're watching Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Now, plans are underway to establish the Coroner General's Office as per the National Coroner's Service Act of 2017. In a statement Tuesday, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration recommended to President William Ruto to initiate the process of establishing the Coroner General's Office, which will be charged with the role of investigating deaths, including those involving police, as well as ensuring accountability and transparency in cases of suspicious deaths. Timothy Kipnus reports. Now, into the corridors of justice now, and the lawyer for the prime suspect in the Mukuru Kwanjenga dump site killings has opposed his detention. And the reason is that the crimes his client was being investigated on were alien to him. Collins Jumaisi Kalusha, who appeared before a Makadara law court, did not take plea as the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Mohammed, sought to detain him for a further 30 days to complete investigations. His lawyer, John Mainandegwa, while opposing his detention, argued that his client had been tortured and subjected to inhuman treatment to confess to crimes which were alien to him, and therefore would be an injustice to remand him for 1 month.
Jumaisi's troubles began after the discovery of bodies at Kware last Friday, with law enforcement agencies saying he had confessed to killing at least 42 women. And a day after his arrest, the suspect was presented before a Kiambu law court on Tuesday morning. However, trial magistrate Peter Oko declined to hear the matter, stating he did not have jurisdiction to hear the matter and referred it to Makadara law courts. At Makadara law courts, the suspect appeared before Principal Magistrate Irene Gishobe. Here, the DCI investigations.
Your Honor, on the orders I've said that the respondent be detained at Gigiri Police Station or any other police station.
A prayer his defense lawyer Mainandegwa objected to, saying the suspect was forced to confess under duress.
My client has been subjected to horrendous, inhuman mistreatment so that he can confess to issues which are alien to him.
His lawyer urged the court to allow him to be taken to hospital as he needed urgent medical attention.
I pray that the court directs for urgent medical attention so that even as they do the investigation, he be in a position to engage in such.
The case will be mentioned mid-next month. This comes as one more body was retrieved from the dump site on Tuesday, bringing to 12 the total number of female bodies from the dump site. Ruth Wamboy for Prime Edition.
The number of bodies retrieved from the dump site in Kware increased to 12 Tuesday, after one more body was pulled out from the Kware. This comes as families of missing persons continue to camp at the city mortuary here in Nairobi, Kenya, in their quest to get answers to their missing kin. This comes as police say that they have arrested 2 other persons of interest in the killings, namely Amos Momanyi Mogusu and Moses Ogembo. Our reporter Serafina Robi has the details. of this developing story.
An eerie silence engulfs the city mortuary as people gather in small groups inside and outside the premises in search of their kin. There is heavy police presence on the roads near the mortuary too. A few hours later, police Land Cruiser arrives. In it is another body retrieved from the dump site in Mukuru kwa Njenga, Nairobi. The police lift the remains of the unknown individual and move it to the morgue. The retrieval of the body bringing to 12 the total number of bodies recovered from the quarry. Selina Soso is a distraught mother who, besides hoping her daughter is not part of the statistics, is in search of her, saying she disappeared on the 19th of June this year.
Anaitwa Wilikisa Night Ososo. Penye ameishi anajulikana kama Blessy. Na huyo mtoto siku yangu ya mwisho kuzungumza na yeye ilikuwa tarehe 9 mwezi wa 6. Ilipofika tarehe 19 akapotea.
Having traveled all the way from Busia to Nairobi, she is almost in tears as she pleads with the government for help.
Na alikuwa mtoto mzuri sana. Akiona kama mimi nimekasirika, alikuwa mtoto mwenye wa kukimbia kuleta Biblia. Alafu ananipatia mawaidha kupitia kwa Biblia.
Her story mirrors that of tens of other families present at the city mortuary who wait with bated breath, hoping the kin will not be among those killed, but nevertheless hoping for some kind of closure as their whereabouts remain unknown. On Monday evening, government pathologist Johansen Dor conducted autopsy on 3 body bags.
What we need examination of pieces of upper part of the body. So there's one upper part of the body which contains the head, the chest, the upper limbs, and the trunk. They are for female.
On Tuesday, the autopsy on the bodies retrieved from the quarry was suspended due to the ongoing protest as transportation within the CBD was hampered. The X-ray process, however, continued.
What we can confirm is that today they're just doing the X-ray of the bodies they've received, the scanning. There's no autopsy ongoing. This will be done tomorrow. We had, first of all, 8 on day 1. Day 2, we had 5. Day 3, we had 1. And day 4, yesterday, we had 2.
And the retrieval process is still ongoing?
The retrieval process is ongoing. From what we understand, even now, they've already recovered 1 body.
This comes as families call for support. Meanwhile, police say they have arrested 2 persons of interest in Mukuru murder, including Amos Momanyi Mogusu and Moses Ogembo. Mogusu was arrested at City Cabanas before he led the police to Ogembo's house at Mukuru kwa Ruben, where a total of 154 used mobile phones were recovered. Ogembo is said to have admitted being sold for used phones by the prime suspect. It's a cry for justice as distraught families continue to stream here at the city mortuary, hoping to find their loved ones that have disappeared in the past, especially during the ongoing protests. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition from the city mortuary, Nairobi.
Now, the story, on the plans to establish the Coroner General's office as per the National Coroner's Service Act 2017 is now ready. Timothy Kipnusu filed the following report.
Following the deadly protests that have replicated in most parts of the country, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration is now pushing for the establishment of the Coroner General's office as per the National Coroner's Service Act 2017. The Interior Ministry has recommended to President William Ruto to initiate the process of establishing the office to investigate deaths, including those resulting from police action, as well as ensuring accountability and transparency in cases of suspicious deaths. The ministry has, however, called on the security agencies to make use of non-lethal force to ensure public safety while respecting the sanctity of human life, as stated in the Constitution. While regretting that what began as an expression of divergent opinion over the Finance Bill 2024, the ministry says the situation has escalated into violence, resulting in loss of life, destruction of property, denying family livelihoods. The Ministry of Interior is asking Kenyans who may be aggrieved by police action to seek redress through the criminal justice system, including the courts, adding that already the Independent Policing Oversight Authority (IPOA) is conducting independent investigations into several allegations of alleged police misconduct. In the meantime, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, earlier on Tuesday warned of plans by organized group to infiltrate and destabilize the planned peaceful demonstrations organized by young Kenyans. In a statement, Kanja revealed that they had received credible intelligence of such plans, which could potentially jeopardize the safety of demonstrators. Timothy Kipnosu for Prime Edition.
On to a story that has been the lips of many. Dadaab Member of Parliament Farah Maalim has denied claims of incitement and instead attributed his woes to political rivalry. Maalim appeared before the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, over his alleged slaughter Gen Z's remarks that went viral on social media.
After skipping summons by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission (NCIC) to shed light on alleged controversial remarks on Gen Z protesters, Dadaab lawmaker Farah Maalim appeared before the commission on Tuesday. The MP was summoned last week after he was captured in a viral video allegedly suggesting the slaughtering of 5,000 Gen Z protesters following the parliament invasion.
The reality of the matter is that there is a small element that was edited.
However, after long hours of in-camera grilling by the NCIC commissioners, the MP denied the accusations, claiming the video was doctored.
I have never called for violence. I would never harm my own children. I have children who are in Gen Zs themselves.
He instead blamed influential persons in Somalia who are against his push to have the Dadaab refugees reintegrated back to their country.
I have 450,000 refugees in my constituency, and I want them back to their own country. So they have to settle down there. You get my point? Our politics are intertwined. I pushed very hard for Somalia to join the East African community, and I'm pushing for even bigger than that.
He, however, failed to produce an alternative video of his remarks, saying he lacked a media team. The Dadaab legislator further denied claims he was ejected from a Mombasa hotel and banned from several others in protesting the hate remarks.
I didn't need to stay in that hotel. I only stayed there for the period we were there. And I was joined the same day when we were finishing on Friday. I was leaving the place. Is when my family came to Mombasa and were basically in our own premises there.
He, however, disclosed his Wiper party has not written him on any decision to whip him from the position of deputy party leader in parliamentary committees, including the Speaker's panel. The Cohesion and Integration body is now expected to verify the authenticity of the viral video. After snubbing the summons on Monday, Dadaab Member of Parliament Farah Maalim today appeared before the NCIC and denied allegations of incitement, saying he's determined to clear his name. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Over the years, the Kenya Defence Forces have represented the country in countless peace missions around the world. They've also won numerous awards for representing the country in various sporting events, including the Olympics. Lieutenant Colonel Agre Mwambi represented the army and the country in the sport of boxing, and even rubbed shoulders with legendary American boxer Muhammad Ali. He also served in the army and the Ordnance Corps for 38 years. He had a sit-down with Ben Troy Njue at his home in Taita Taveta County for this week's edition of Military Tales.
We travel about 400 kilometers from Kenya's capital Nairobi to Taita Taveta County, deep into the famous Tsavo West National Park for a scheduled meeting with a military veteran.
One of the reasons why I'm so passionate about military tales is that I get to travel a lot, meet people of diverse cultures and backgrounds. Right now we are in Mwatate in Taita Taveta County. Actually, Tsavo West is a few kilometers from where we are standing. And we're here to meet one military veteran by the name of Lieutenant Colonel Agre Mwambi.
His story is very interesting and very inspirational to young serving officers. He started as a private and rose the ranks to become a commissioned officer. We are here to file his story. He's been waiting for us. So let's go. Agri Mwangombe Mwambi was born over 60 years ago in Ruringo, Nyeri County. Lieutenant Colonel Agri Mwambi served the Kenya Army for 38 years and he shares his story. As a young man, Colonel Mwambi loved boxing, which was very instrumental in him joining the Kenya Defense Forces in 1978.
I was in school. I used to be a sportsman. I used to be a boxer. So through your boxing, I got interested. Most of my friends were from the army. So I got interested in joining the army. And as such, nikapata hiyo fursa 1974 recruit, nikakuja hapa nyumbani nikaandikwa. Nikaingia kwa jeshi. The training Lanet 3K katrainia hapo, alafu hata posting yangu ilipotokezea pia ikawa nimekuwa posted the same place 3K. When nika 3K for 3 years, ndio nika change sasa corps, nikakuja kitu inaitwa Kenya Army Ordnance Corps. That is way back in 1978. Yeah. After 3K basically ilikuwa ni infantry. Hiyo ni mambo ya kupigana nini. Kuingia ordnance logistics, nikafanya kazi ya storekeeping. Kawa storekeeper, stores clerk, purchasing clerk. Ndio hapo sasa nikaanza ku scale the ladder promotions.
Lieutenant Colonel Mwambi started as a non-commissioned officer, a private, and would rise the ranks to become a commissioned officer, a journey, he says, was very dear to his heart.
Niwachana boxing in 1980. Because I'd gone to USA, kapata injury, hiyo injury kawa ni mbaya sana, siwezi endelea na boxing. Kawa nimewachana boxing. So from 1980, I went sasa deep, yani kukaa kwa kazi kabisa. So that 1980, nikaanza kupata promotions zangu ku ascend the ladder. Remember 1980, I was a corporal. 1981, I got a sergeant. 82, I was a senior sergeant. 83, 84 there. Kapata kitu inaitwa warrant officer class 2. And that's where I commissioned from warrant officer class 2. Karuka ladder nka ingia kwa commissioned officer.
He later on joined the Ordnance Corps and he explains what his work entailed.
Kenya Army Ordnance, that's where now I spent my whole life in the military. Because hapo ndio nilienda nika train as a kwanza basically unatrainiwa kama ordnance storekeeper. From your storekeeper mimi nikatrainiwa tena further as a ordnance clerk. So unafanya mambo ya procurement nini. So from there, that is where career yangu sasa nilipasu nikiwa hapo. Ordnance kawaida ni mambo ya supplies. Kama chakula yote inatoka ordnance, we train cooks, we train tailors. Ordnance sema ndio kama logistic hub ya jeshi. Yeah. Kitaka supplies zote, uniforms nini zinatoka ordnance, ndio tunapeleka kwa other units.
His biggest achievement in the forces was scaling the heights from a non-commissioned officer to a commissioned officer, and has a word of advice to those who like to follow suit.
Ile kitu naweza wapatia, uzuri wa jeshi iko na masomo inapatiana. Unaweza ingia kama wewe ni standard 7, lakini hata degree utapata ukiwa kwa jeshi. Because kuna correspondence, you are allowed to do private studies zako as long as they are not interfering with your working schedule. So kitu ningesema naweza kuelezea ni ukiingia, don't stop at where you join. Endelea kujipandisha both career wise na academically.
Having served the army for almost 4 decades, he picked vital lessons from the forces.
Jeshi inakufundisha sana wewe kuwa mtu unajitegemea. Yani you can stand on your own regardless of the difficulties which you are facing. It teaches you how to be a true man or a true lady. It gives you that hard behavior. Like I remember one of our instructors when we were cadets, alikuwa anatuambia make a man go through the wall without breaking the wall. Ujikute tu kwa the other side of the wall. So such things teach you a lot of, perseverance.
Doubling up his boxing career and his military duties, he says the army gave him and his fellow athletes ample time to train and attend boxing events around the world. He also became a boxing referee.
Nilikuwa orthodox, nilianzia nikiwa flyweight. No, light fly. Nikacheza fly, nikacheza bantam, nikacheza feather, nikaja kuachia light welter 63.5. Sasa ukiwa kwa jeshi na uko kwa mchezo, jeshi inakupatia very good opportunity ya kufanya training the whole day. Wewe ukitoka tu asubuhi ukiamka, either you're in the kiwanja ya mbio ama uko kwa gym ya boxing ama uko whatever sport you do, football nini, they give you ample time ya ku properly indulge in that sport you're doing. They give you those facilities are there. I told you I was in boxing. We used to do boxing throughout from January to January. You only get a break when you're going on leave.
The former pugilist has a message to athletes in the forces, especially those that will represent Kenya in the upcoming Paris Summer Olympics.
My advice ni kwa watu wazidi kutia bidii. Na isikue tu mtu anataka tu kucheza ati aonekane kwa gazeti Kenya Nation. Takana ukicheza, unacheza, unaenda unawakilisha kama wale wanaenda Olympic, wangangane sana upate medals kama gold, silver na bronze. Hiyo pia it is also economically attract tourists to our country.
As a former professional boxer, Mwambi is perturbed by the declining levels of boxing in the country, with 2024 team not having qualified for the Paris Olympics for the first time in 60 years.
4 years from now, up to the time when people are going for the Olympics, kisha wamefanya high performance kama 5-4. Ni watu wameenda pengine Bangkok wameshinda gold, wameenda wapi wameshinda bronze. Yani ile build up iko.
As an army boxer, he had a rare experience to travel to the USA and train in legendary boxer Muhammad Ali's boxing club.
I was able to represent Kenya. Kama 1980 nakwambia nilienda achia boxing nikiwa USA, nilienda Washington DC. Bigana na klabu ya Muhammad Ali. The legend will train kwa klabu yake na tukacheza na timu yake. Select yani US Select versus Kenya Select. Tukacheza na wao.
Kano also participated in peacekeeping missions in the region and shares his experiences in Sudan.
United Nations mission in Sudan. Yeah. Niko based in Khartoum and nimetembezo station karibu zote za Southern Sudan hizo. Kitu niliona sana. Kwa wale watu kuna self liking. Yani kama kikuona wewe si mtu. Lakini akiona mtu wako ndio naona huyu ndio mtu. So Kenya kitu ambaye anaweza kuelezea watu wengi ili tuwe na amani ile ya maana. Sote tujitreat kama equals na sote tuwe ndugu na dada. Sisi sote ni wa Kenya, tujitreat kama Mkenya and we should love the name Kenya.
Now retired, the Kano is involved in farming and business. Is also the Defense Forces Old Comrades Association chairman in Taita Taveta County.
No, sasa ukiangalia tunaona tu mahindi hapo. Haya, sengine anafanya Silico Logistics, sengine anafanya supplies. Hata naweza kwa jeshi hapo naambia, "Yes, mnipatie hizi pencil 5 na walete." Unafanya hiyo. Una survive.
Despite his advanced age, the Kano is still active in boxing and has embarked on mentoring youths in Taita.
Mambo ya development ya kama kijiji yetu, mambo ya umoja, community working. Na sana as I told you ni boxer, pia ina interest mingi kwa boxing. Kuna club kama hapa Mwatati, singine naingia kule na chemsha vijana, kujaribu kwa encourage wa good boxers.
A family man with 2 children, Mwambi enjoys spending time with his family. His parting shot:
Kenya is a strong country, it's been good, but let me tell you, a country kuharibika just takes a day. I would really ask Kenyans to be tolerant. Economically, we are not doing well. And I don't think we can improve that economy within 1 year. It should be gradual. And that graduality should be planned in such a way. Usikii kwa mfuko, yani okay, utaisikia kwa mfuko lakini haiumizi. Ni kitu ile inaweza kunini? You can accommodate.
Once a sportsman, always a sportsman. Mwambi is optimistic that Kenya will reclaim its lost glory in boxing.
Kano.
Yeah.
Tumeshukuru sana kwa muda wako na pia kwa kukaribisha kwako.
Nimeshukuru.
For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
Ni kweli mmemchagua Mbura awe kiongozi wetu.
Na pia usisahau kwamba paka humshika panya kwa kumchezeshea mkia wake.
Unamaanisha nini?
Kwa nini wanaume hawaone thamani ya mwanamke katika jamii? Ni kwa sababu ya mila na tamaduni zetu ama?
Katika njaa hakuna urafiki wa kudumu wala wadui wa kudumu.
Kubali bwana, ulimsaditi jasiri.
Huo uhuni wako hautoshi hata ukucha wa kidole cha mguu wangu.
Wifi yako yupo atakutazama vizuri, sawa?
Now time to look at what we have in the day's business.
Thank you very much, Tom. Of course, it's always a pleasure. My name is Betty Kiptum, and this is what's happening in the world of business. The Seven Forks Solar Power Plant is expected to start operations in December 2027. Energy Principal Secretary Alex Washira says the 8.4 billion shillings loan facility funding from the French Development Agency for the project will see the plant offer the cheapest power tariffs in the country.
The Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen, will start construction of the 42.5 megawatt solar plant at the Seven Forks early next year. The project will add clean power to the national grid in a bid to complement the hydropower during the day. The 8.4 billion shilling solar plant is expected to offer the cheapest power tariffs in the country once it starts operations in December 2027.
One of the cheapest solar plants generating at 3.83 with battery backed is going to be at the Seven Forks dams.
The power generating firm says they have onboarded 2 investors in their green park in Olkaria, with a number of investors seeking licenses to set up shop near the geothermal sites.
The objective of all this is to make Kenya the manufacturing hub for Africa and also for the world.
This comes even as Kenya expects to add another 70 megawatts from the Menengai geothermal sites as Globek and Kaishan complete drilling of their wells.
Anticipating to bring on board 70 megawatts, 35 from Globek and 35 from Kaishan by December 2025, and that will be in Menengai.
These new geothermal projects will lower the cost of energy and make Kenya a more competitive manufacturing hub.
Kenya, which is ranked the 7th largest producer of geothermal power in the world, has also shown interest in getting a permanent seat at the International Geothermal Commission and has applied to host the 2029 Geothermal Congress as it plans to consolidate its position as a regional leader in clean energy. Benson Drioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And the government, in collaboration with the German Development Bank, is set to roll out a 3.7 billion shilling project to improve access to financial services for small businesses. Part of the project includes establishment of a center for entrepreneurship located at Kenya Industrial Estates.
Kenya faces great challenges in combating unemployment, especially among young people. 2/3 of the working population is between 15 and 34 years of age, and estimates show that 80% of Kenya's unemployed are young people. According to the International Labour Organization, youth unemployment rate has averaged 26% over the last 10 years. To combat this, the government partnered with the German Development Bank to create a center for entrepreneurship located at Kenya Industrial Estates. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Principal Secretary Susan Mangeni says the center will be rolled out in this financial year and will provide a space where young entrepreneurs can meet with mentors and other actors from the field of enterprise development to build their skills and develop functional networks. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
At least 4.2 million prepaid Kenya Power customers have updated their token meters out of the targeted 7.2 million. Kenya Power is reminding prepaid customers that they have until the end of next month to update their meters to continue having electricity access. Kenya Power's General Manager in charge of Commercial Services and Sales, Engineer Rosemary Odwor, says the ongoing free exercise is part of an ongoing global exercise that targets all prepaid meters that use the standard transfer specification a universal method to transfer tokens to prepaid meters that ensures the security of generated tokens. Odor says prepaid customers are receiving their reset and update codes when they buy tokens for use in updating their meters. And that is the day's business. Sports news is coming up with Marakwet Express. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
France welcomes the world for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. In this edition, heroic Team Kenya is pushing boundaries as well.
An Olympic gold medal.
More significantly, Kenya is intent on claiming victory at the quadrennial sporting event comprising of 45 sports that will be staged from 24th of July through to the 11th of August. Here comes a dose for everyone.
Yes, it is!
For the athlete, it is chasing a dream of a lifetime. And for the fan, witness history in the making, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
A very good evening to you. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Malkia Strikers coach Japheth Munyala insists that the Kenyan girls must work on their reception and net defense if they are to stand any chance of winning a medal at the Paris Olympic Games. Malkia's weaknesses were evident during their friendly match against Istres in Miramas, southern of France. KBC Channel 1 will televise live the Paris Olympic Games, which will officially begin on the 26th of this month.
National women volleyball team Malkia Strikers continued with their preparations for the Olympic Games in Miramas, playing a friendly match against Istres, which they won in 4 straight sets. Despite the dominant display that saw Malkia winning all 3 sets plus the additional set 25-13, 25-16, 25-12 and 25-15, head coach Japheth Munyala was not content with their defense just 10 days to the start of the Olympic Games in Paris.
This team has given us an opportunity to know where we are not doing well. So when we come to training, we are going to rectify those mistakes, especially on the reception and on the net defense. So it has given us opportunity to know where to handle our training from tomorrow.
Munyala, however, vowed to leave a positive mark when he guides the Kenyan side in the games set to end on the 11th of August. Malkia Strikers will begin their Olympic medal hunt against Brazil, ranked 3rd in the world, on the 29th of July, before playing world number 7 Poland 2 days later, and end the pool matches against world number 9 Japan on the 3rd of August.
The friendly match has been good. Girls are okay. The team we have played with, they are also okay, but on our side, we were a bit tough, little, but we still have to put more effort.
At the same time, the Kenya Sevens team is sealing all loopholes as their number of days to the start of the Sevens tournament have reduced to just 8. The rugby and football programs will begin ahead of the rest. The Kenya Sevens will play Argentina in their opening Pool B match on the 24th of this month, then face Australia on the same day, before wrapping up the pool matches against Samoa a day later.
The preparation part of the program is the most important, and so the team is just ready. We are actually looking forward to check into the Olympic Village, as the number of days in Miramas has been quite positive. It becomes quite challenging when you are someplace in one area for a very long time. Mentally and psychologically, even for the boys, they start getting fatigued. And so we are ready for the games come next week.
KBC Channel 1 will televise live the Paris Olympic Games, which officially begin on the 26th of this month.
Thank you, Barclay, for that detailed report. Moving on, footballer Marion Serenge was today recognized for being the best sports person of the month of June for her contribution to the national women under-17 football team that qualified for the World Cup. Junior Starlets became the first Kenya national football team to qualify for the World Cup that will be played later this year in Dominican Republic. Serenge was dependable in guiding Starlets to win over Ethiopia and Burundi on their way to the global finals. To win the prestigious LGS Jack Monthly Award, Serenge defeated other nominees including fencing star Alexandra Ndolo and her Starlets teammates Velma Abuire and Elizabeth Ochoka.
It's a big inspiration and it's a big motivation to me, since I would like to achieve more and I know that I'm going to make it.
Marion Serenge, at her tender age, is a model to be emulated. Those who watched her performance in the two qualifiers against Burundi could see her determination and leadership. And we are confident that she will outperform herself in the October World Cup finals.
When we think about Kenya and what the Kenyan athletes are doing, there is a lot that they've been able to achieve. And that's the reason as to why we're saying that we simply have to celebrate our top stars in the country. And even the young ones, when they come up, we try as much as possible and give them that kind of oomph so that they might be able to go all out, compete. And while at it, they know at least the sports journalists in the country, as much as we do cover what they're doing, we always also try and celebrate what they have been able to achieve.
Congratulations, Marion Serenge. Moving on, FKF Premier League champions Gor Mahia completed the 2024 Sekafa Kagame Cup with a point after losing 2-0 to Sudanese side Al Hilal in their last Group B match played today at the Azam Stadium in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The two goals were netted by Salah Adel in the 56th minute and Mohamed Abdel Rahman in the 89th minute. Gor Mahia now shifts focus to the continental competitions. They will play Al Merrikh of South Sudan on the 16th of next month in the first leg preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. The return leg match will be played on the 23rd of August in a venue yet to be announced. Gor is also expected to take part in the inaugural Call City International Cup in Enugu, Nigeria from the 1st of next month.
Bao la tano kwa Mohamed Abdurrahman linakuwa bao la pili katika mchezo huu wa leo. Ni moja kati ya wachezaji.
CAF has officially confirmed clubs licensed and eligible to compete in the CAF Champions League and Confederation Cup ahead of the new season of the competitions. A total of 58 clubs from 46 CAF member associations were licensed for the Champions League, while 51 more clubs representing 40 member associations were granted a license and will take part in the Confederations Club. All clubs that qualify on sporting merit for CAF inter-club competitions must be granted a license before they can be eligible to compete in CAF inter-club competitions.
Sets it up! Blasted in! How about that? Absolutely crushing that is for Simba.
And finally, England and Spain flew back to their respective countries as the Football Association got into gear by writing up a shortlist to replace Gareth Southgate. Southgate resigned earlier today, just 2 days after his side lost to Spain in the 2024 Euro final in Germany.
England footballers arrived home after a heartbreaking defeat to Spain in the final of Euro 2024. For the second successive year, Gareth Southgate's men came within touching distance of silverware but fell short at the final hurdle. After going behind, Southgate's men levelled against Spain with an exquisite shot from substitute Cole Palmer. But Spain's Mikel Oyarzabal broke England's hearts with a winning goal in the 86th minute. Elsewhere, thousands of fans joined street celebrations in Madrid after Euro 2024 champion Spain returned home to a royal welcome. Spain beat England to win their record fourth European crown. They travelled from Germany to the Spanish capital and first met with Spain's king and his family. The party then continued into the city as supporters gathered and lined the streets for Spain's open-top bus parade in anticipation of seeing their heroes and the trophy.
And that story by our senior reporter Buckley brings us to the end of the sports news tonight. My name is Karen Kibet. I'll see you tomorrow with more sports news. But for now, I hand you back to my colleague Tom Mboya, who will be right back after this short break. Don't go too far.
I want to thank you, Marakwet, for handing it over immediately. And also, I want to thank you, the viewer, for watching Prime Edition on the day that 9 petitioners wrote to President Ruto seeking the suspension of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza and calling for fresh elections to be held. Thank you all for watching. My name is Tom Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me? I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you. I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you were making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out. Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani.
Sisi wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
For me, first of all, I'm so happy as David Busolo. One, I double as the treasurer of Kenya Judo Federation and one of the qualified coaches in this country in terms of technical. So I'm happy to report to our judokas that we are finally headed to Paris for Olympics with our only girl, whom we know she has really worked very hard to get where she has gotten, and we are going to give her the support that she requires, the support that she needs. One thing I should report to our judokas and our countrymen and women that IGF, which is our international governing body, has given us a coach who will be here for 2 years. And we are taking that advantage that we use this coach as we prepare Zedi for this period that we'll be now training here, preparing for her to go and participate in the Olympics. So we are hopeful that we are going to achieve that which we have longed for. Yeah.
What you have done to me is despicable, to say something very respectful.
And what? Well, I think it's time for me to leave this house.
Careful, slow down. I'm sorry, ma'am, but you have to wait here.
Please save him, I'm begging you.
Don't worry, we'll do everything possible.
Who is dying, Fermina?
Alonso is dying in the hospital. He's dying, Remigio. Well, they just called to tell me Alonso is in the hospital in serious condition, Daddy. And you just said that Alonso isn't going to bother me again. How should I interpret that? Tell me!
What are you insinuating? That your father has something to do with that?
Where are you going?
Las bandidas.
My goodness, Dinora, if you want to get out, that would be a definitive decision to make. Well, that's really what I need to do, Ricarda. To make a definite decision. Oh, to lose a battle doesn't mean you've lost the war. You've got to understand that. Ricarda, that's important when there's still hope of winning the war. But I've lost everything, Ricarda. I can't deceive myself. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself, Dinora. I deserve this. For being naive. For thinking that all these years with Rodrigo could do something good for both of us. Oh. I don't like seeing you like this. Because you're suffering thanks to my son. That doesn't matter, Ricarda. Let's face it, the problem here is that I am tired of waiting. When Rodrigo told me that there was nothing between us anymore, well... My darling, men say those things sometimes. But listen, please stay, I insist. Tell me something, will you? Woman to woman. Exactly how much would you be willing to put up with if the only man that you love wants to be with another woman? Hmm? With another woman. A woman who is not you. Tell me, Ricarda, how much? I've reached my limit. I'm done putting up with all this. I have to do this because I'm just tired. And that's my decision.
Mother?
Is something wrong? Mom, what's the matter?
Nothing really. I was just thinking. I would have liked so much that my life, my children's lives, would have been different. I would have liked that so much.
Emergency. He's getting worse. I don't think you will survive.
Dinora, why are you here?
You scared me, Rodrigo.
Hmm? These are the keys to my laboratory. Why do you have them?
That stupid veterinarian. I hope he dies.
What you just did will haunt you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, please, Sergio. I don't buy those kinds of excuses. So tell me then. You're behind what happened to Alonso. Yes or no?
Vicente.
Yes, it's me.
Why are you here?
I came here personally, so you will clear things up once and for all.
Miguel, I need you to go look for Marisol and bring her here to the hospital. She still doesn't know what happened. You'll have to tell her about this. And please be very careful with what you say to her, understand? We will tell her the rest once she gets here. Miguel, honey, call me when you get there so I can know that you are all right. Hurry up. Doctor, how is Alonso?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm afraid I don't have good news for you.
I'm sorry, what do you mean? What's the matter with Alonso?